Hi, good evening. This is B.N. Sureka, Assistant Professor of Commerce, working at Government Degree College, Sellingampalli, Rangareddy District, Telangana. Just a minute. Rangareddy District, Telangana. So, we'll be dealing with the subject Business Law, which is useful for your Become General, as well as for computer applications for 5th semester, final year mark. In the previous classes also, we were dealing with Unit 3, Sales of Goods Act. So today I would like to deal with the topic sales distinguished from other transactions. Means, what do you mean by this? How sale is being differentiated. How the sale is being distinguished from other transactions, where whatever the transactions are being carried apart from sale. So we are going to differentiate what are the difference between the sale and other transactions. Okay. So we will be dealing we are going to explain what is sale, and we are also going to differentiate what are other transactions, how it differs from sale. So now let's go for sale and bailment. So we are going to deal with what is sale and what is bailment and how they differ from each other. Okay, how they differ from each other. So it doesn't matter at all. So first of all, sale. What do you mean by sale here? In sale, the property and the goods is transferred from seller to buyer, and buyer can therefore deal with the goods in any way he likes, right? So what happening in the sale, ma? The property is transferred from seller to buyer. Yes, we know very well that the property is transferred from a buyer and seller on a fixed consideration. Means whatever the price is demanded by the seller, if the buyer agrees to pay that price and he agrees to pay and he pays that amount, then we can say the buyer becomes the absolute owner of that particular product or property or good. Shall I repeat once again? What happens in sale? The property in the goods is transferred from seller to buyer, right? In sale, what is happening? The property, whatever the goods are there, that just transfers from seller to the buyer on a fixed consideration. What do you mean by fixed consideration? On a price. Okay, and I am using the term fixed consideration. What they mean that? Now the seller fixes a price for a particular refrigerator 20,000. Okay, 20,000. And buyer wants it to be 18,000. So he can bargain. So overall, with a mutual understanding, both go for 19,000. Both. The seller is willing to sell it at 19,000. Even buyer also, though rate was told him 20,000, but the seller has dropped to reduced 1,000 less. So buyer gets convinced and he says that okay, he is going to purchase the refrigerator for 19,000. Then the moment he pays 19,000, then buyer becomes the absolute owner of that particular refrigerator. The moment he pays the price, the ownership is being transferred from seller to the buyer. Now the seller doesn't have any right on that particular product. Whole and sole his right is being carried out by the buyer himself only. Why? Because it is a sale. It is a sale. The ownership is being transferred immediately after the payment is being done. Even the refrigerator is with the seller also. The owner is the buyer only. The owner is the buyer only. Okay, I think you people are clear. Even if the property is being held with the seller, then also the buyer himself is the owner of that particular product, because he has paid the complete consideration, whatever is needed by the seller, which he demanded from the buyer. Clear? Now you come back to bailment. What is happening in bailment? In bailment, there is only a transfer of possession of goods from bailer to the bailee. In bailment, there are two persons. The person who gives the goods is called the bailer. The person who receives the goods is called the bailee. Again, I repeat, concentrate. Bailment is a type of transaction where the goods are being transferred. Bailment is nothing but it is a type of transaction where goods are being transferred. So two parties should be there. Means two persons should be there in bailment. One is the bailer and other is the bailee. And you know very well that in sale also we need two persons. One is the seller and other is the buyer. So in bailment also we need two persons. One is bailer and other is the bailee. Okay. So but what is happening in bailment? So in bailment there is only transfer of possession of goods from bailer to the bailee. That's it. In bailment, the bailer just transfers the goods from him to bailee for any reasons. let it be for safe custody, let it for carriage, anything. The bailee can deal with the goods according to the directions of the bailer. It's not bailee. Just a minute. It's not bailee, it's the bailer. Okay. So, okay, the goods are transferred from bailer to bailee, but bailer can't do anything with that goods. He should not do anything with that goods. Means he acts according to the direction of the bailer. If bailer says just throw them out, yes, bailee has to throw. If the bailer says keep them safely, then bailee has to keep them safely. If the bailer says just go and give to Mr. Ravi, then bailee has to go and give that particular goods to Mr. Ravi. So you feel, you try to understand that here bailee doesn't become the owner of that goods, even the goods are in his possession. Who is the owner here? Bailer himself is the owner. Bailer just only gives the goods and the bailee acts upon the advice and suggestions of the bailer, and bailee doesn't become the owner of that particular goods even though the goods are with him. The goods are under his security. The goods are under his capacity, but still he doesn't have any right to do with the goods. He just acts upon the directions of the bailer. So now I think this is the main important difference between the sale and bailment. I said sale. In sale we will be having two parties. One is the seller and other is the buyer. Sale is a transaction where if the goods are being purchased by the buyer, buyer becomes the complete owner of the goods purchased from the seller. Okay. If the goods are purchased by the buyer, buyer immediately becomes the true owner of the goods he takes from the seller, he purchased from the seller. Okay. But in bailment, there are two parties. One is the bailer and other is the bailee. The bailer gives the goods to bailee, but it doesn't mean that bailer is selling the goods to bailee. No, it's not selling. The bailer gives his goods to bailee, and bailer has to do with the goods. Any activity he has to do with the goods is done only with the direction, guidance, suggestions of the bailer. So you should understand that in no circumstances bailee becomes the owner of the goods. Okay. I think I am very clear with this point. Now come back to second point. Goods in sale, see the second point ma. Goods once sold normally cannot be returned unless there is a breach of some conditions. See, once you sold the goods, they cannot be returned unless there is some breach of contract. Means what is that? Whatever the conditions, whatever the specific qualities, whatever you are given about the product, if that misleads the buyer, then buyer can approach you for returning the item. Now whatever you are selling, you give some kind of promise with regard to that particular product. This product is like this, that, this, that. Okay. So when the buyer feels that the whatever specific qualities you mentioned that doesn't match the product, then he can return. Means that something you are misleading the buyer. When the buyer comes to know that you misleaded him with the product, then he can return and he can acquire a new product in place of it. But goods once sold cannot normally be returned unless until there is a breach of contract. Okay. But in bailment, what is happening ma? In bailment, the bailee must return. Now, be clear with the what are the words are being spelled out in the slide. In bailment, the bailee must return. Must means it's a compulsion. He has to return the goods to the bailer. At any cost, the bailee must return the goods to the bailer on the accomplishment of purpose for which the bailment was made. On what purpose the bailment was made, he has to complete it, and after accomplishing the task, he has to return back the product to the bailer. Now take for example, I would like to give an example. Now I don't know whether they are supplying the vehicles or not, but I am telling is an example. Okay. Now you then tell me that no madam, this example doesn't. I am just giving you an example. Now you know the courier facilities are there. Courier facilities, okay. They just send the letters here and there, okay, throughout the country. So the courier, I can say the courier office people, they provide cycles. They provide cycles to the persons who work there. The moment the work is completed, means after posting the letters to the particular area for which the employee has been assigned, then he has to return back the cycle to this person. Even the bikes also, they provide bikes also. So they are accountable for the petrol, okay, and they're accountable for the bike. The moment they post all the letters, means not post, they the moment they deliver all the letters to all the to the specified area where they have been allocated, then after completing the work by 6, again they have to return back the bike. So we can say that bike, for what purpose the bike is being given, they have set a task of delivering the letters. So when that particular task has been accomplished, then obviously the employee has to return back the bike in a good condition. He has to keep that in the courier office. So that is nothing but a kind of bailment. So here the employee doesn't become the owner of the bike at all. Never he can become. Only the vehicle has been given to deliver the post, deliver the letters. That's it. When he accomplishes that task, then obviously he has to return. He is nowhere the owner, even though the bike is with the employee. So this example I can give for bailment ma, where he has to return, he has to return, because a purpose has been given. He has to complete the purpose, he has to satisfy the purpose, he has to accomplish the task, and after the task has been completed, he has to return back the goods to the bailer. Okay, so it is a must condition. But in sale, no, you need not return unless and until only if a breach of contract has been done, then he can return the goods and he can get, in place of them, he can get a good new good. In sale, the consideration is price in terms of money only. So in sale, consideration is done in the terms of price, means whatever the price we need to pay for that particular product, and we pay that consideration and we will get back the goods. So this is about your sale. Now you come back to bailment. So in bailment, what is happening? In bailment, the consideration to an undertaking to return the good after the accomplishment of the person. So in bailment, there is no consideration for price, there is no consideration for money. The consideration here is only the accomplishment of task. The consideration in bailment is only you are undertaking to return it only after the accomplishment of task. The moment you accomplish the task, the moment you complete the task, you have to return back. So you are not been given the bike. You are not. You doesn't have any right to take the bike. You doesn't have any right to purchase the bike. Okay. I think you people are very clear with sale and bailment. It's a very, very important question, ma. You may get for short 4 marks, and you may also get for 2 marks also. What do you mean by bailment? Okay. So it is a very good scope for getting 4 marks as well as for 2 marks. I think just over 10 minutes reading if you give, I think you will get the difference between sale and bailment. It's not a big task at all. Now go back to sale and gift. So what do you mean by sale and gift? Sale, when the goods are transferred by one person to another without any price or consideration, the transaction is called gift, not sale. Okay. Just a minute, I would like to change here. Okay. Now goods are transferred from one person to another person, but not for consideration. Then we can say that particular transaction as gift. Now you want to give a birthday. Now your friend is celebrating her birthday, and you just give her a gift of rupees some 500. Will she pay for you? Will she pay for you? No, na. She won't pay. So that is nothing but gift. So goods are transferred. You become the owner. Goods are transferred from one person to another person, but no consideration is paid here. No consideration or price is paid. Now myself, I attend my birthday party of my friend Neelam. So when I attend a birthday party, I given a Banaras saree of 2000 to her as a gift. The moment she sees the gift, she feels very happy, and she tells me, "Oh, I will pay you." No, I can't take. That's a gift now. So I shouldn't take it. I won't be paid. I won't expect to be paid. So, but the ownership has been transferred from me to her. The moment I give the gift to her, she becomes the absolute owner of that particular gift. She becomes the owner, yes, absolute owner, even though she is not paying me any consideration. So better remember now, you can become the owner without paying any consideration. Also, you can become the owner of that particular product. That can be done only in the gift. Clear? You can become the owner of a particular product without paying any consideration, and that can be done in the transaction called gift. So very nice, good chance, okay? Good transaction where we need not pay anything. but we get the goods and we can become the whole and sole owner of that particular good. So I think this transaction is very good, and I think it's a favorite transaction for each and everyone, right? It's a favorite transaction for each and everyone where we get free of cost. We need not pay anything. Okay, I know very well. Next on your birthday you may get a gift. On her birthday again you have to give the gift. I know very well that. But anyway, at the moment you become the owner of a product where you have not paid anything at all, right? So then what is the difference between sale and gift? Sale is always for consideration. Sale is always for consideration. Sale, in sale no one gives you free of cost. No one will give you a product free of cost. You need to pay the price, then only you will become the owner of that particular product. Okay. Now let's go for sale and hire purchase, ma. Sale and hire purchase. Now let's see the difference between sale and hire purchase. Now just I'm reading the words, try to understand, try to be alert. Under hire purchase agreement, the owner of the goods lets them out on hire for a periodic rent on the terms that on completion of the agreed number of payments. Now the fellow, he hires the product to a particular person and he tells that you have to pay this number of payments. When agreed number of payments are done, till that moment that product will be with you. The moment you won't pay the payments, when you stop paying the payments, then the owner has a right to take up the product from you. Getting? Hire purchase means you are giving your product on rent. For how many installments you agreed to pay, you have to pay. Meanwhile, now you agreed to take a bike. You agreed to take a auto. And you have to pay him rent monthly wise for hiring the auto. So you have signed an agreement to use that particular auto for 10 months. So 10 installments, 5,000 monthly you have to pay. Okay. But for 10 months you said that you are going to hire the auto. But meanwhile you are unable to get money on auto. So you pay only for 5 months. On 6 months you are unable to pay. So when you are unable to pay the installment, obviously that person has a right to take the auto from you and he will go back. Now you can't say that auto is mine, I am paying the payments, not like that. Just you have taken it on hire. And that's the contract between you and other person. The hirer is to have the option to buy the goods on payment of full amount. The property in goods passes to him, but the owner shall have right to resume the possession of goods on hirer fail to pay installments on rent. Okay, this can also be done. Now you take any vehicle for EMI. And you promise to pay him all the installments. If you are unable to pay some installments, then obviously, even though you have paid, I can say that the hirer has a right to take back the goods from you. Now you can't question that I have paid half of the installments, so why don't you keep with me? No, you doesn't have any right to question them. Why? Because while purchasing the bike itself, while purchasing the car itself, you agree to all the terms and conditions that even if you are just held with one installment also, the person has right to take away your car or bike. Yes. Even also, if you are unable to pay even one installment, then you have to proceed. You have to proceed